Tonight is a special night. Love is in the air. Flowers are in a vase. Chocolates are being ate. And two in-state rivals are on your display. That's right, it's Valentine's Day. Hello, gal pals, boyfriends, significant others, UNI Panther fans, and Overwatch fans alike. Welcome to week 2 of the spring 2025 NECC regular season. Your 0-1 UNI Panthers from Cedar Falls, Iowa, will duel against their in-state rivals from the West, the 1-0 Iowa State Cyclones from Ames, Iowa. Last week, your UNI Panthers were ghosted by victory as they fell 3-0 to Indiana, while ISU ran the bases and won 3-0 against Saginaw Valley. I am joined by Bill in production, Joe is in the booth, and my name is Hunter. Thank you for joining us on our Valentine's Day special of NECC Overwatch. Joe, how are you doing? And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Hunter. I'm doing okay. I'll tell you, I was doing better until about an hour ago. I looked out the window and I'm getting some Valentine's Day blizzard action. Not what I'm looking for.
That is not great. But at least you're inside with some Overwatch. So you, unlike some of those couples that are actually going to brave the winter weather today and try and battle the blizzard conditions. But hopefully you don't have to at any point tonight.
No, I'm excited for tonight's game. Hopefully you and I can do a little bit of redemption to last week, change up the score to 1-1. But yeah, we'll see.
I completely agree. Last week they played on Nepal on their first escort map. It was kind of a tough matchup for UNI. They weren't quite really playing together. If it wasn't for some little clutch moments here and there, I feel like UNI could have turned it around. But again, also seeing that this Indiana team is pretty good and this ISU team is pretty good as well, their first win against Saginaw Valley, it could be a close one tonight.
Oh, I hope it is. So as far as maps go, I think for the first round, we're always going to be starting control point. Usually teams pick something like Lijiang Tower, something like, I don't know, Nepal, like you said last week.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we're going to see this week? Do you think we're going to see a repeat of Nepal first, or do you think we're going to go to Lijiang?
I would love to see a Lijiang Tower. Get you and I back in the normal grind of things. Lijiang Tower, there's so much to like about that, especially how UNI typically plays a brawl composition. Love to see Lijiang Tower. I'm also not against Busan.
Really?
I will admit that. Busan, again, is kind of one of those interesting maps, especially if you play on like Mech Base or the Gong Tower. I feel like that's going to play more into Roadkill's hands as the type of tanks that he likes to play. That's kind of my thought here. But I guess, what are you more akin to liking, Joe?
I think Lijiang's a great pick. Just because it's kind of like their bread and butter, a little bit of back to basics. They've played so much Lijiang. If they get the choice, they should go for it. I see Samoa hovered, and I like Samoa personally. I think the lava map is just really cool to play in and be in. Some of the other points kind of feel like Oasis. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I love Ilios. I don't think they're gonna pick it, but that is definitely like a fan favorite for me. I hope they do. I think it is gonna be Samoa though.
Yeah, Ilios is just one of those interesting maps. If you can pair a Roadhog and a Lucio together, you could probably make Ilios doable because of the environmental kills. However, that's not really suited to UNI's strengths, nor do I think it's Iowa State's strengths either. So it's going to be interesting to see, because also we see last week that Iowa State picked Lijiang Tower, but like you mentioned, Joe, we're probably going to go Samoa.
Yeah, probably. And really quick, while we do have some time here, if you guys are watching and you're fans of Overwatch, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, there's going to be a bunch of changes coming this year. And I can talk a little bit about those while we've got time. I think there's so much to talk about. So I would recommend just going to look it up. You'll find Overwatch changes this year if you just look it up. There's so much. So I'm just gonna kind of run down for what I'm excited for. First and foremost, they're gonna add like a perk system. So I don't know. Do you know anything about this, Hunter?
Yes, I was told about this briefly, and it's basically like what they were gonna do originally with Overwatch 2. It's basically like giving specific boosts to specific characters that you play to kind of tailor a more specific playstyle.
Yeah, exactly. So as the game progresses with this new perk system, you're going to basically level up your character and be able to choose things. And we'll talk about that more after this game if we get time, but it looks like we're getting into it here. Did we go over the starting lineups? I don't think we did.
No, we have not. So for UNI, it is going to be Accident, Totoro, Roadkill, Unlasting, Doomrad, and the flex being XNL. For those of you keen of seeing last week, Accident is coming up off the bench and going into that DPS role, while Unlasting going into that support role. So interesting to see there. As ISU will have Vordo, Nova, Nidus, Sneaky Snake, and Sofriach. Or I guess however you want to say.
I'm gonna call that guy Vardo, and I'm gonna call the other guy Soprich, because that's what it looks like to me. Soprich and Vardo. I'm also gonna call that guy Nidus as well. Anyways, we're gonna be seeing Hazard on both teams, or not both teams, just for UNI. I almost called him Mayhem again. I don't know why I keep calling him that.
Well, it's Hazard Mayhem, sure.
Yeah. We got a Lucio comp coming out from UNI. I like that. Getting the Hazard out there and keeping the team with him seems to be really helpful.
Yeah, the biggest thing here that UNI is going to need to focus on is playing around the Hazard here, especially on such a close map like this. It's going to be interesting to see. It's all going to come down to first picks as well, too, Joe.
Yeah, and we see both tanks kind of staring at each other, but right away Roadkill realizes Orisa's cut off from her team, trying to make some space for his team. Nobody's really going down. Everybody's just poking, getting low, healing up.
The biggest thing is, too, is that you got to feel around with what this team is, as Totoro is going to get taken out by Vardo. And that's going to lead to the first picks over for the Cyclones.
Yep, UNI right now on the back foot. They do have to kind of get out, try not to die. Accident does end up going down, so UNI are going to have to regroup here. Roadkill caught out in this side room. Not good for UNI, losing that tank pick, staggering even more.
Yeah, you're going to have to reset here, and it all started with that initial pick by Totoro. And, you know, losing that first initial pick, especially on a control map, it's just kind of at that point you have to go back and wait and not get staggered. Unfortunately, UNI was, and swap now from the Hazard to the Zarya. So UNI going to try and be very serious here.
Well, it looks like there was a little bit of a mishap. I think Ashe is banned. Can't play Ashe.
Yes, so that was kind of a difficulty last week that UNI had as well. It's kind of an NECC rule just based off of things here, as we see Roadkill, who's going to be charged, as Nidus going to go ahead and pop the Orisa ult, and 3 members of UNI go down in that interaction.
Roadkill doing his best to live at 8 HP there, but he ends up going down. UNI got to find something that works here. They already switched to the Zarya. I don't know if they're going to switch some more or just keep rolling with it. They're getting their ults built up, but I don't know. It's tough.
It's tough here that, like you mentioned, Joe, the ult economy is going to play so valuable here as 20 percentage ticks left to go.
Yeah, and ISU all have their ults.
Yeah, and UNI hasn't had one because they've had to swap so many characters. And Roadkill, who had was kind of overcharged there, as UNI gonna go ahead and get a trade out as accident. Kitsune Rush comes out. Nova using the shield as well. Gonna play around point. We're gonna be on overtime. Has to bang it out. Doomrat, he's gonna wall ride a little bit, try to take out Nidus. Nidus is gonna be purple. That's good value. Unfortunately, Roadkill and Doomrad will go down. Overtime. Sleep. No avail. As accident is gonna have to touch at the last point. He does. But that's going to be for naught, as the first point will go on over to the Cyclones.
You know, going into the second point here, Hunter, I really think UNI needs to find something, just a way to deal with Nidus on this Orisa. It has been a thorn in their side the entire time. They managed to sleep and boop her away towards the start of that last fight there, but she just woke up and ran everybody back down. So UNI are going to have to find something, a way, maybe a pick, maybe a strategy change to deal with this Orisa, or else I think it's going to be game one.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm going to see here is maybe playing around Roadkill. UNI wasn't really playing around Roadkill, and of course Totoro got picked out early by Vardo, and that kind of steamrolled from there. So UNI has to be very particular with how they take this initiation here. And I already like the initial start here for ISU.
Yeah, that rollout with the Sim TP, look, they're already on the point and UNI has to fight them off. It's a tough spot to be in.
Already, Nidus gonna go ahead, work around the corner, has to play against Roadkill as the hazard again. Love to see that
the dive
used. Gonna have to play a little bit more tidy there if you're ISU, as they did successfully. Trying to work around the point. UNI, though, will go ahead, use the lamp, get the first ticks over, but it's still gonna be contested there for ISU.
UNI got a really good dive in there, but they're not able to get a pick. They did make some space, Roadkill finding the pick on Nidus, and just like that, ISU is gonna crumble when Nidus isn't there to support them. They are gonna find some picks on Totoro and Doomrad, though. So yeah, both teams down some members, gonna have to do some regroup, but ISU are on the back foot.
Yeah, Vardo getting a couple clutch picks there towards the end, but at that point ISU has to sit back, kind of wait, and you're gonna use the Juno orbit to kind of push around. Now you're going from the top side. UNI is gonna have to work around a Kitsune Rush, trying to utilize the window there from Unlasting, now on the Baptiste. And UNI's just kind of playing a little separated.
Yeah, they are. The Hazard just ulted, and I didn't see any members of UNI nearby, but same thing for ISU. Everybody is all over the place this game right now.
Yeah, UNI is going to go ahead and get the pick out on Vardo after taking Nidus out. So UNI again trying to get those staggers early, 60% ticked over.
Right now, I think it's just going to be a game of who gets picked first here. I don't know, though. Vardo does have Visor, or not, Overdrive, my bad. And Nidus and Sneaky Snack also have their ults. Okay, here's Overclock.
Overclock's going to be met by a Doomrad beat. Tries to utilize the right clicks, can't quite get it. Totoro, though, going to go ahead and use the Venture ult, picks two. Gonna be in the back line, gets third before trading it out for Vardo. And Nidus gonna have to play off point, 95% ticked over for UNI. Jagged Wall comes out for Roadkill. He gets stuck, gonna have to deal with Nova. No longer on the Sim, on the Tracer. Overtime ticks over, and UNI is gonna have to give up their first ticks of map 2.
Roadkill living like a beast there, Hunter. He survived a really long time. He survived a pulse bomb from the Tracer as well.
Hazard's just OP. I don't know what else to tell you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Roadkill's really good at him, so that definitely helps here. We got a window up for UNI and a Visor. They might be able to work with that here. Okay, here's the window. Here's the Visor. Soldier getting zoned out by Nidus. Oh man, he's trying to do his best to survive. They do get the pick on Nidus with the Baptiste support there. UNI gonna be regrouping on the point here, pushing the rest of ISU off as they try to recap.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to deal with Nova. He's in the back line, and of course UNI was so close. But that's gonna be the first team kill of the series so far, granted to ISU. So what I really like there is that UNI, tried to kind of single out Nidus Of course, Nova, who's now on the Tracer, kind of working along that back line. UNI doesn't have as much kite as we've normally seen in the past, and I think they're going to have to focus on Nova and Nidus if they want to go ahead and get the second point on Samoa.
See a Hazard ult coming out, and the Kitsune rush. Both teams fighting right now. Nidus finds a pick on accident and a pick on lasting. Vardo finding a pick on roadkill, and like that, UNI is gonna fall.
Yeah, with 80% ticked over, UNI has to make something happen quick. And at one point, I thought they had the ult economy in their favor. Of course, with the last series, a couple team fights and a couple swaps, it's no longer in their favor. Of course, now we're looking at Vardo, Sneaky Snake, and maybe Nidus in the middle of a team fight will have their ult available as opposed to only Totoro.
Yep, UNI pushing on, but they're getting flanked at the same time. Vardo, on the other hand, is using their ult. Totoro trying to put in some work right now. Shuts down Vardo during the overclock. Really huge pick. Here's the excavation. Totoro putting in work. He's at 3 health. Managed to survive. He does end up going down.
Yeah, overtime ticked over. Gonna have to get the Juno off ISU. Sneaky Snake, though, gonna pick out Totoro. Overtime still ticking over. Finally taking out Nidus. Has to take out Sneaky Snake now until ISU gets back. Roadkill trying to zone it out, and UNI takes it.
What a nail biter of a game, Hunter. That was scrap after scrap. UNI managed to pull it in, though. That was tough. Every single time they would engage, they'd get flanked by Nova's Tracer, and sometimes it didn't work, but they did manage to bring order to the chaos there and lock in that round.
I think the biggest clutch moment was Totoro with the Venture being able to stay alive just enough and then having the absolute goal in the back line to pop Excavation and taking 2 members of ISU out. And I think at that point, maybe ISU was dead to rights. Now we're going on to point 3.
Yeah, when that Venture gets down to 3 HP like that for Totoro, that's when ISU needs to finish that pick, but they did not, and they were punished hard for it. UNI gonna switch it up to a Junker Queen pick here.
Which I love the Junker Queen pick for Roadkill, especially on, you know, a close-knit map like this. You can get a lot of people out of position here. But Vardo already taking out Doomrad, so gonna have to deal with that. And also seeing Totoro now swap to the Mei. Gonna try and do a lot of CC here is what I'm catching from this composition.
Yeah, UNI have to pull back a little bit here. Accident's really extended. The rest of his team isn't with him. He's gonna have to find a way out. He gets gripped.
Also, unlasting on the Life Weaver. Very
we don't see Life
pick.
Weaver like ever. I like it.
I do too. And Life Weaver, if used in the right scenarios, can be very critical, especially when you have the tree on point.
It's very good against Orisa as well. I think it can mess with her ult, right?
Yes, absolutely. And Roadkill going down now, who's going to play was Junker Queen, now going to go to Zarya. So a lot of switching up for UNI. They're not going to have as many ultimates as ISU is going to be already ticked over at 40%. So, Joe, what's UNI trying to think here?
I think they got to be really careful of Sojourn's. I have a rebound, so whatever. I was going to say right click. I think it's for me, it's left click. Basically, her charge shot. UNI got to watch out as she overclocks here. Vardo's been landing a lot of charge shots, and they do end up finding a pick on accident and a pick on Totoro.
Yeah, ISU's just DPS output has been so critical with Nova and Vardo prolonging those fights. Of course, we see Nova here on the charge. A good charge here for the Symmetra, just zoning out, doing everything that they need to do to basically push UNI off of any kind of closing distance.
It's going to be tough here. It's 0.6 up to 80% for ISU. UNI got to make a move. They've got the grab ready.
Yeah, you got to be looking for the grab on point. But Nidus gets
the grab.
2. Gonna have to grab. That's a fat grab for UNI. Trying to see if they can capitalize on that. Cannot, as 4 members of UNI are down and gone. Count that up as another team kill. And that's going to be a 100% to 0 tick over for ISU, and the Cyclones will go ahead and take Samoa.
It's going to be a tough last fight there for UNI, as the Fat Grav did land, but the Symmetra, the wall, completely saved her team.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for UNI here. I feel like they're playing too spread out, and because they're playing spread out, they're easily getting picked by this very DPS strong ISU squad. So I feel like at that point, it's a communication issue, and it's definitely a team composition issue. It's hard to kind of practice as much as they do, and try and get a sense of like team play going on, like ISU has definitely had together. Their chemistry. It's Valentine's Day, Joe. They got to work on their chemistry.
Okay, so going into round 2, you're good. The loser's gonna pick between Hybrid or Escort, and then the winner is gonna pick. They're gonna ban a map from that pool, and then the loser is gonna pick from the remaining maps. So that means that you and I are going to pick between Hybrid or Escort, and ISU will ban from that pool. I don't know what they picked.
I don't think they have picked yet, but if I was UNI, just with how well ISU has been playing, maybe go with an escort map, because you kind of have more of a floating payload, so you are able to kind of work around more than just a single point in hybrid, where I feel like if ISU kind of hunkers down with that Orisa, you are going to have to run into a whole lot more. But I saw flashed on the screen, we're going to go hybrid.
Okay, so for the hybrid maps that we're going to be able to pick and ban from, we have Blizzard World, Eichenwald, Hollywood, Kings Row, Midtown, Numbani, and Parisu.
Is there anyone that you feel particularly strong about?
Kings Row. Kings Row.
I think Kings Row is like everybody's favorite, to be completely honest.
Yeah, really quick, I do want to distract here. So we mentioned before Ash's banned. What is with that?
Why is Ash banned?
Yeah.
I think had to do something with some kind of like hitbox or some kind of update or patch. I wish I knew a little bit more about that particular
And I can't see anything in the handbook either, but Ash is banned, I guess, and that'll bring me to something I was talking about before. So some of the stuff that they're going to add to the game, we talked a little bit about the perk system before, where you kind of level up mid-match, and then you can choose stuff that'll augment your abilities. But they also talked about adding bans to Overwatch. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with that, to be completely honest. I mean, you see League do it, and League's just fine, because it adds to the complexity that is the chess match of Overwatch. And I've always thought Overwatch was a chess match. So being able to kind of legitimize that chess as bans, I feel like is only going to improve, because as we see here, Nidus on Orisa, absolutely OP. And if you are able to ban Orisa, that then forces Nidus to maybe play a character they're not as comfortable playing as.
Yeah, or you could think about maybe banning Vardo and Nova's Symmetra or Tracer. That's been quite an annoying foe for you and I this time.
I completely agree.
So it looks like Iowa State is going to ban Paricio. I still hope UNI picks Kings Row. That is their classic map.
I hope they do too. And also looking at last week in week 1 against SVSU, ISU 2-1 Saginaw Valley in Kings Row. So that would be interesting pick.
We'll see. Really quick, while we do have some downtime, if you guys like Panther Esports and you want to support us, please type !merch or click on the merch button. It'll take you to guardianproline.com/collection/northern-iowa-panther-esports. There's t-shirts, sweatshirts, polos and jerseys. The jerseys are for way cheaper than, say, like an NFL jersey, and you can customize it.
Yeah,
So
baseball season's coming up. So I looked at, my favorite team, not to not be named, my favorite baseball team, and those typical jerseys are going to run you anywhere between 120 and 150 bucks. And like you said, Joe, fully customizable jersey, $50.
yeah, and if you guys don't want to support us in that way, please put a Go Cats in the chat. Send good energy towards UNI so that they can hopefully clinch out a win in week 2 here.
So it looks like the ban was on Parasio, and now the selection is going to be Midtown. What is your thoughts on Midtown, Joe?
Midtown can be tough. There are some spots that tend to be a little tricky. So just starting at that first point that you have to cap, you have to go underneath that bridge as the attackers, and it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel for the defenders. It's really tough to get through. It's a long corridor, and it's tough to hold because further back there's all kinds of places that the defenders can hide on high ground. I guess the site is relatively open, but the fire truck in the way kind of makes things difficult. And then right after that, you've got another long sight line, and the streets phase is really tough. It's not like Kings Row where there's like medium range. There's like 1 or 2 long range sight lines, and then just like a bunch of medium range, like connected to each other. The streets phase in Midtown is like just one really long corridor. It can be really tough. And then the last part, I feel like the last part of Midtown is the most fair, but it can be tough. Like these hybrid maps, that last point, they all kind of tend to have the defender spawn right very close to the destination. So what we see a lot of times is the defenders are able to stop the payload at the very end.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel like it can be beneficial for the defender as well, but it also kind of favors UNI if they are going to use like a Junkrat, which we've seen used before. Would love to see a Ramatra play come out for UNI, but like you kind of mentioned, Joe, it's a hodgepodge in favor of the defenders. So just with how it plays, I feel like the defenders might get the edge for either team, but who's to say and who will kind of come out on top. But while we're doing this, we do have some substitutions as the Cyclones will go ahead and sub out Nidus for Bacon. So Bacon going to be that tank player, and UNI subbing the tank as well, as Roadkill is going to be subbed out for XNL.
XNL finally being unleashed. Last week,
Yes.
I think he was on the bench the whole time. This week, they're getting him out there. They're getting him active, and I like it.
Yeah, love to see the XNL play. Would love to see his Reinhardt and or Ramatra play tonight. I feel like this is a very specific map that was chosen by head coach Vandium for XNL to play. So interesting to see what kind of compositions UNI is going to come out with here.
Yeah, and I've heard that he does have the hazard in his back pocket just in case.
Love it. I mean, play the OP characters while you have them, right?
Exactly. But we'll see what UNI end up doing here. We're gonna see Bacon on the Sigma. I love me some Sigma.
I love
Hopefully
Bacon Sigma.
he doesn't. Hopefully Bacon Sigma doesn't swap. Sigma's a ton of fun to watch and to play. And XNL looks like he's gonna be rolling out on the JQ. Doomrad doing the classic Mercy hover. We know you're baiting. It's not real.
Doomrad,
Right.
please. No, because I believe they allowed skins. I can't remember if they didn't. Doesn't look like it, but or maybe they did. If they allowed skins, Doomrad on the cancer awareness, breast cancer awareness, Mercy skin, please.
5, 4,
Left.
It looks like Iowa State's gonna just kind of hold this traditional spot here. It's a good spot for Sigma to play. He can kind of back up and play this taxi on the left. I think he's gonna be doing that.
Yeah, that's
I don't
pretty
know.
standard. It's just gonna have to play around because you don't have to deal with the subway level. And unlasting on the Pharah, very interesting to see.
Oh,
And
they
we
are
got
doing
the
it.
Doomrad.
The pharmacy
the-
tech.
Yeah, the Pharmacy tech. Love to see it. Love to have it. And I'm glad UNI is going to try and play a little bit more vertical here. You're not dealing with the Nova turrets right in that initial choke.
Yeah. Getting some good damage out right now. The Pharah. But the car wash, they weren't expecting. Oh man, on the descent. Nova's turrets just take him out right now. Nova's going to be feasting on the back of JQ. She ends up going down though. UNI still managing to hold some stuff together here, but it looks like they're going to try to run. Juno down really low right now. The rest of UNI are not going to be able to make it out. Totoro's down, and I think, yeah, there goes XNL as well. UNI going to have to reset here. Pharah doing some poke.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that UNI needed to do there is they got to still play together as a team. Some people were kind of down below. Of course, the Pharmercy kind of does what Pharmercy does and just kind of float above. But you got to engage as a team, because after that point, XNL was kind of dead to rights close to the cars there. And you just kind of crumble there. You have to reset.
Yeah, I think that start of that push fizzled out because of the Sim turrets getting the pick, and then UNI weren't able to leave as a team. UNI are going to try to siege right here, though. Tracer getting really low recalls. Juno also really low, but Vardo finds the pick on Mercy. Nova finishing the pick on Juno. XNL finds Nova, but right now it is 4-1 for UNI. Or sorry. Oh my gosh. I can't. I'm not going to do that numbers again, but UNI are out of there. They weren't able to push. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I think
oh man, and XNL gets picked too.
Is just the stagger that you've seen Vardo and Nova just doing an excellent job, just getting in the back line and separating UNI. That is the win condition that UNI has to find here, is they need to play as a team.
So they're playing as a team all into this Sigma right now through this enclosed space. If Sigma presses Q, they're going to be sad. Lots of Qs going out right now. Barrage, a charge. Okay. Oh my god. There's so much happening.
Vardo gonna have to overclock right click, can't quite get there. XNL though takes the headshot away. It's still gonna be a contested point. Totoro finally taking out Nova. And we see Unlasting on the small Swedish man as UNI will secure this first point in Midtown Hybrid.
UNI made the right call there to use XNL's Rampage as soon as they could and finish off that Sigma before he could use his Gravitic Flux. That would have been devastating for UNI as Totoro gets picked off.
Although,
here you go. The res? Clutch res?
Clutch res? Clutch res? Maybe.
UNI are going to have to find a way to get ISU off of this high ground here as they push around this corner. It's going to be tough, especially with the Sigma ult ready. Here we go. We're going to use the Mercy ult to try to get the JQ in and out. Taking so much damage. Here's the Gravitic Flux. Not going to find any value. Oh, finds some value. They do end up picking off Juno and Totoro. UNI now on the back foot.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing there is you had the right idea for the initiation as XNL again trying to play around this corner to basically Bacon made something out of nothing. Didn't get anybody on that Gravitic Flex, but Unlasting on the small Swedish man. Gonna take out the Cowboy of Cassidy. Gonna have to pay for it in the end though.
Sigma gonna drop here. Oh, Juno goes down. Right now, 3 members of UNI up on the point.
That's going to be a tank v tank matchup here. Of course, UNI looking for that sustain. Doesn't get it as both of the supports are gone. Vardo with a double kill. Bacon taking out XNL. And with 2:03 left to play, UNI is going to have to find an answer to this nice team play for the Cyclones.
Yeah, this is what's so hard about the streets phase on this map is you're able to like get them off of high ground, but you end up, you know, spending a couple picks to do it, and then they drop, and it's still really tough, and you have to do it all over again with the payload stuck underneath the bridge here.
Yeah, XNL is going to have to go underneath the payload, and I would love to see UNI get a little closer there. Of course, Vardo taking out Roadkill. So coming off, and that's going to be a swap out from Unlasting as well. So a couple role changes that I never necessarily noticed until just now. But hopefully UNI can get it pieced together here.
Okay, XNL's making space. The rest of UNI needs to push. The space has been made. Here they come. 2 ults coming out. Overclock and the Juno beam from UNI.
Orbital Ray trying to get some value, but to no avail. 4 members of UNI go down. And with less than a minute to play, Joe, UNI only going to have the Unlasting ultimate. And you did have the XNL ultimate as well. They swapped to Zarya. I'm not sure about that swap, Joe.
Yeah, what you need to do here is you need to find a pick, or you need to all push together, and you're never going to find the pick against this Sigma shield, so they need to push together, and they haven't been able to push together very well outside of that last push. So it looks like what they're going to go for is this Zarya pick, and they are going to go a different route here. So instead of going straight around this corner, it looks like they're all trying to sneak around, but Nova already knows. He's given the positions to his team. Everybody on ISU knows they're in that back corridor. Nova is positioning for High Noon here. He's gonna have to move.
Gonna have to play around in this little shield. XNL is gonna be staggered. Gonna have to fight around this, and UNI needs to push into this. Otherwise, you're gonna stare down a Deadeye.
But right now, Small Swedish Man is backcapping.
And hopefully that's gonna work in the end, as Bacon's gonna take out Doomrad, and XNL gets the kill on Nova. Bacon with Gravitic Flux takes out XNL. Unlasting goes down. Overtime ticks over, and UNI still trying to contest the point. Totoro, though, takes out Sneaky Snake. And here comes the visor for Totoro. He's gonna work around the fire truck. Can't get it done. And UNI knows the distance that they need to hold now.
UNI almost had ISU at the end there. Unlasting getting that solo pick really threw a wrench into ISU's plans there. They immediately sent the Juno after the Small Swedish Man, and they got that pick, and UNI realized that ISU was split up, but it was a little bit too little too late situation, as UNI are going to have to try to hold here.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of composition that they play with. Of course, with hybrid and being defense on the second point is you know how far you need to kind of hold. So that's a little beneficial, so you know how to cycle ultimates and whatnot. Would love to see XNL go with, like, yes, a Sigma, Totoro on the Sojourn. And of course, this is what I'm most excited about, Joe, is Unlasting on the Hanzo.
I like the Unlasting Hanzo pick. It gets value. I think XNL and Sigma here could be getting value too. I love Sigma. See if he could beat Bacon in the Sigma v Sigma matchup. It's going to be all about who uses what and when. These two are going to be staring at each other, thinking about the shield, thinking about the accretion, the rock, thinking about hands. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. Of course, with XNL, maybe he's going to have to play a little bit back in that back corner, potentially. But it's all going to come down to how XNL is going to hold this choke.
Yep.
And already initially...
Nova taking a page out of Unlasting's Swedish book.
Yeah, I mean, the Small Swedish Man, you get that extra turret. You're kind of forcing a little extra DPS that you normally don't see. As Nova is going to go ahead and overclock, work in the backspace. As Nova's going to take out Doomrad. Totoro, though, answers with the support pick of oh my goodness, for himself.
You're good. Totoro and Lasting picking up a little bit of slack there, taking out some supports. Vardo going down, and Nova going down for ISU. Bacon going down too. UNI doing a great job holding them back. I think they need to pull back a little bit here, though, as Iowa State are going to regroup. UNI realize that they're going to pull back. On Lasting, getting that clutch headshot there.
Yeah, clutch res, clutch headshot, absolutely.
Everything's clutch.
Everything's clutch with me, Joe.
And XNL doing an excellent job, by the way. I want to point out he's doing an excellent job keeping track of Bacon's cooldowns and his abilities. But he's going to have to do a little bit better as he misses that rock.
Yeah.
His shield.
The great thing about the shield, too, is that you're going to have to... You're able to work around kind of the right clicks and the hammers that Nova has, and I just love the kiting that UNI is doing right now. Of course, they're kind of working around the top side. Orbital Ray comes out for UNI. XNL is going to go ahead, and he's going to dash into the back line. 2 members of ISU go down. Cyclones staring back at their own spawn is going to be pushed back to the corner. Unlasting able to take out Vardo. Way to go, UNI.
Yep, that was really good by UNI. I think both Sigmas, that fight, were kind of not thinking about each other's cooldowns, but towards the end of the fight they were. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like XNL kind of has the edge right now on Bacon. And I'm not just saying that because he's my goat.
No bias.
Okay, Gravitic Flux coming out for UNI.
Gonna get some picks here, and here comes 3! Unlasting! Getting it done, but Vardo answers with 3 of their own. Doomrad is gonna have to fight Vardo on point. Minute 29 left to play. Vardo getting it done.
Oh, nice try, Doomrad. Vardo is lethal on that Sojourn, though.
That was nuts. UNI is going to go ahead and get back. You do have the spawn advantage as the defenders. With 109 left to play, UNI, are they going to give this up or are they not?
I don't know. I think they want to keep it. Totoro's going high ground with the overclock. Meanwhile, Nova, high noon. Here's the overclock as soon as high noon's over. This ends now. Getting a pick. Oh.
Yeah, Sneaky Snake, unfortunately, going to take out Totoro. Bacon, though, trying to get the kill confirms on point. 1, Gravitic Flux, Doomrad down. With the primary fire, Bacon able to go ahead and get the first caps and the point secured. So now UNI knows the distance, and it's going to be right there underneath the bridge.
Yep, and this is where the Sigma pick is going to shine. Trying to keep your team alive behind this shield is important. Finding a pick as they try to catch up to the Sigma here. So if you're UNI, you don't want to drop on Sigma that early because that is going to happen. He's just going to get picked off right away. And I think UNI is going to crumble here as Iowa State is pushing them up off the high ground, getting pick after pick. And the payload is just advancing.
Yeah, at this point, UNI is kind of dead to rights here. ISU taking control of the high ground. And Unlasting, though, able to get a pick on Vardo. So UNI does have a Unlasting ultimate. Gonna see if you can use that. Nice! Right click coming out from Doomrad. Nova going down as well. So big staggers coming out from UNI, Joe.
UNI Unlasting and Roadkill did a great job surviving there and playing just a really annoying little gnat that kept buzzing in the face of ISU. They didn't commit to the push. I really honestly think they could have. They had like 3 or 4 to just UNI's 2, the Hanzo and the Juno, but they were afraid of the Hanzo and the Juno. They ended up getting pushed off.
Yeah, so gonna also see how ultimates are gonna be used as Unlasting is gonna Dragon Strike, try and pick out at least one member of ISU. Cannot. And now ISU's got 3 ultimates to work with to maybe UNI's 3 eventually. XNL, Gravitic Flux, tries to find some people, can't. Orbital Ray for UNI, or excuse me, for ISU as 2 members, 3 members of ISU go down. Commit so many ultimates, 4 members down now, and Doomrad with a double kill.
Yep, XNL did a great job surviving there. Bacon, I was giggling because Bacon was trying to hit him with a rock looking straight up into the air. Could not hit him.
In less than a minute now, UNI knows the distance that they are going to have to hold if they want to potentially push this to a map 4.
Yep, UNI winnable, very winnable for them, but is also very losable as Bacon finds the solution. The dive, he switches to the Winston, immediately gets 2 picks. Kiriko getting a pick and Sneaky Snake getting another pick. It's just Unlasting right now versus an entire army of angry Cyclones.
But it is Unlasting. He's going to have to work in the corner. Unfortunately, Bacon kind of puts him off into a corner. And nice job by Bacon playing the monkey, the Winton. But
Instant Diva counter swap here.
Yeah, Diva, though, gonna see if that can extend and UNI get back. Can't. Roadkill, XNL go down. Less than 5 seconds to play. UNI has to keep this going. Payload, contested, overtime, 0.3 meters to push, and Unlasting with 9 health trying to make it happen.
Oh, so close. So close. Really good swaps by everybody that game. That Winston swap by ISU utterly decimated UNI. They weren't expecting it. And UNI were able to swap back with the Diva and the Tracer. Kind of brought the tempo back a little bit in their favor, but it was not quite enough. This game 2 is going to go to Iowa State.
Cleaning house.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy as that's 4 kills? That's 4? Oh my. Vardo is just absolutely disgusting on the Sojourn, might I add. Just a really good presence for this DPS output. And I feel like that disruption that Vardo has is what's creating so much chaos for UNI. But I do like how UNI was able to kind of work around XNL and the Sigma play there. Unfortunately, I feel like at this point, UNI's issue is Doomrad and Roadkill getting picked early in the team fights.
Yep, it's going to be unfortunate for UNI. So going into game 3 here, Iowa State is going to ban a map from the pool, the push pool. It's going to be push. And then UNI is going to pick the map, and then Iowa State's going to pick the time inside. So for the push maps, it's just Coliseo, Esperanza, New Queen Street, and Runasapi. Hunter, what do you want here?
Well, Runasapi's banned, so we know that much. For competitiveness sake, I would say Coliseo. However, ISU, against their 3-0 win against Saginaw Valley, also picked Coliseo. So I would not necessarily say Coliseo either. So maybe Esperanza?
I think we should go with the Runasapi.
But it's
And here's
banned.
why. Oh. My god, you're right. Never mind. I was just going to say, I feel like neither team is going to know it as well. And if there's something we could take away from map 1 on Samoa is both teams kind of, I don't know, like there's a lot of chaos. And I think you and I were able to bring order to that chaos to some degree. And I think on Runasapi they could do that. It would be chaos because nobody knows it as well as the other maps. But looks like we're going to be going with Coliseo, as you say.
Yeah, Coliseo is just one of those standard maps that I feel like ISU plays really well, with the Sigma. But the interesting thing that I want to note with this, if UNI decides to keep XNL, is if you get XNL going on a Ramatra, now that is dangerous. And
yeah,
of course, Coliseo is also one of those maps where you have to win. You have to win the first fight, and then the loser of the first fight has to win the next 2 in order to just get back to square one, or maybe try an advance past. So it's unfortunate that, UNI has been losing a bunch of team fights today because of the inconsistency of kind of like chemistry, I guess.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
So I don't know. What do you think UNI needs to do here as an answer?
Yeah, the chemistry, it's Valentine's Day. They need to work together. What I'm saying is it seems like either Unlasting or Totoro is working with the tank, but neither at the same time. And it definitely doesn't seem like they're working together. I think the supports are working with their team very well. We see last round with the Far Mercy, they stuck together well. They ride together, they died together to those sim turrets. And the supports are doing a great job keeping the tank up. But I just think that you and I are having a hard time meshing both the DPS and the tank these games tonight. For XNL and oh my god, I'm having a brain fart about the tank.
Oh, Roadkill.
Yeah. Sorry, Roadkill.
Yeah.
For both tanks for you and I tonight, I feel like the DPS and the tank haven't been meshing together quite as well as they have been able to in the past.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier too in Midtown, especially on UNI's attack portion, where XNL with Azario was pushed all the way up, but the whole team was all the way back. And of course, when you're dealing with kind of the poke damage that Iowa State has, the healers are back there with the DPS, but they're not moving with their team. So there's got to be, again, a very strong couples relationship thing is communication. You got to work on your communication, Joe, in order to have a successful relationship and a successful Overwatch team.
Absolutely. Going into Coliseo here. We're gonna see how this pans out. This map can kind of tend to go either way. It's just push. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, so already seeing these first initial picks. I do like the Totoro pick on the Widow. Of course, that first initial point, if you can go ahead and get a couple head clicks, you're able to kind of steamroll from there. But of course, looking at ISU, Bacon back on the Winton.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Okay.
So now,
Yeah, the Bacon Winton pick was big at the end of last game. I think that they're hoping to get value here, and I think UNI may have predicted it a little bit, like going Jungle Queen here. We see Totoro on the Widow. We've seen Totoro play Widow on this map before, and it has worked. It's gonna be tough against the Tracer here, though.
I do like the JQ pick for UNI. XNL, very strong JQ player, definitely in the repertoire here. But yeah, you got to work around Nova and the Tracer. You don't want to get split up here, as the point will unlock, and the first initial ticks over are going to be for UNI. Nice pick by Unlasting, able to take out Bacon. UNI has to press the W here. Gonna have to work on communication here as Vardo going down, but Roadkill and Unlasting able to pick up 2 members of ISU.
Yeah, I'm liking Totoro's Widow pick, and I was worried about the Tracer, but Totoro's been pretty resilient against Dive in previous games on the Widow, and it looks like ISU is going to go ahead and challenge him, go with a Widow v Widow matchup. Hopefully we'll see something interesting come out of that. Oh,
Nice
instantly.
headshot.
Yeah, finds the pick on the
goodness,
Pharah.
and they trade out. Unfortunate
Oh,
though.
and Totoro comes out on top, finds
That-
Nova, shuts him down.
That's absolutely disgusting. As XNL is going to go ahead and play on the point. XNL will be purpled, so a nice biotic grenade coming out from ISU's Ana. Going to go ahead and get the follow-up kill there as well. But again, because of just the nature of push, ISU is going to have to win another team fight if they want to go ahead and start the advantage.
Yep. It was an excellent pick by Bacon there. By the way, I just want to point out that getting the Junker Queen purpled and having her go into that back corner, instantly Bacon realized, speared him, shoved him in there, and finished him off. Pretty tragic for UNI. Both teams kind of setting up here.
No one can resist my
Yep,
Comes the
Totoro gonna,
imprecise Totoro.
unfortunately, Doomrad is going to go ahead and get picked off screen. Totoro trying to get another headshot on the Sojourn. Oh, you get those clicks, but you're having to deal with Sneaky Snake. Ana goes out, Unlasting with Barrage, able to take out 1 member. And again, Totoro getting this Widow v Widow matchup, and he's 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to beat the Totoro on Widow this game. It's 2 in a row.
And UNI able to secure their first team kill of the series. UNI's playing like they're going to have to try and reverse sweep, and that's the situation that they find themselves in as ISU is up 2-0 on the series.
No one can hide from my sight.
Also going to be interesting to see how ISU is going to cycle through their ultimates here, as Roadkill will go ahead and Orbital Ray on point. Nova, Sniper Elite trying to hunt out Totoro here, as Totoro gets the headshot again. That's 3-0 on the Widow matchup. And Unlasting able to go ahead and try and play on point. So UNI trying to get that forward spawn. If Bacon has anything to say about it, and Vardo able to find 2, trying to take out Totoro, and Doomrad has that beat in the back pocket, but at this point UNI is gonna have to regroup.
Yeah. Did they? Okay, they did not get forward spawn. The thing would be blinking if it did.
No, they did not. They did not get forward spawn. And with 6 minutes left to play, UNI with about a 32-ish advantage. And UNI gonna have to try and find another pick here. Unlasting's gonna go ahead, find Nova, try to take out the Soldier. Unfortunately, you have to reload, but Roadkill able to take out Sneaky Snake. Doomrad goes down as well. Unlasting, though, in the back line, trying to get it done, and then XNL swapped to the Zarya. able to utilize that there. So hopefully UNI can secure this forward spawn now.
Yep. I think they're going to be able to. I mean, they've got 4 ults to work with here. I mean, on paper, it seems like they'd be able to. Totoro's going to pop the infra site. Look for a pick on Soldier here. Nova playing chicken. Doing a little bit of ego peeking here. Here's a barrage from Lasting, finding a pick on Vardo and a pick on Sneaky Snack. Nova going to trade. UNI pushing up to this bridge here.
Gonna get slept, so a nice critical play by ISU's Ana. And just able to kind of work around that. I feel like their kiting skills have been slowly getting better here as they're finally able to take out Nova. And UNI gonna have that forward spawn advantage. 440 left to play. And if they continue to get these picks, no! Able to go ahead and get one in the win column against the Widow v Widow. And here comes Bacon now, trying to get a couple kills, trying to be in the back line, maybe try and push him out. Orbital Ray comes out on point, trying to sustain UNI. Unlasting on the Genji, able to get the melee kill against Bacon. And there goes ISU. 4 members quickly go down.
ISU putting too many beans in the kill Doom Rad's Lucio basket, and he did not die, and all of ISU died for it.
Yeah,
they really tried to get him.
Yeah, they really tried, and I feel like ISU's maybe trying to play a little bit too greedy at this point. However, Vardo taking out roadkill, so definitely something you want to do there. Totoro, 4 for 1. As Sneaky Snake, though, able to get a double kill with the Brig, and that's the 3rd team kill now this series for ISU.
Yeah, but they are going to have to push quite a way to be able to start a comeback here. Many team fights, they're going to have to win back-to-back.
And hopefully they can go ahead and get it done. 3:23 left to play, and 90 meters. ISU is going to have to push if they want to think about winning this series 3-0.
Okay, Infrasight's coming out for ISU. They know where UNI are. They gotta hide. Careful peeking this, Totoro.
Ooh.
Oh, he knows.
He does know, and gonna have to be a Winton on point as Bacon is gonna go ahead, try and dive the back line. Gonna get a nice kiting so far for UNI, but again, tactical tac visor for Nova. He's gonna try and look for some kills here, but Bacon goes down. Sneaky Snake goes down, and Nova goes down. Nice headshot by Totoro. And hopefully UNI was gonna try and get the stagger there, but you know, a team kill in the column.
Yep, just like you said, excellent kiting by UNI there. They heard the visor come out. They all kind of played the corner, all peeked at different times, different angles. The ISU not able to find any picks there. Gonna go ahead and swap again. A lasting blade coming up, by the way. It's up.
I would love to see that. However, down low.
Blade.
And here comes the blade. It's gonna be in the back line. Reflecting, going all over the place. Gonna try and take out Sneaky Snake. Can't. Vardo with the right click.
Made space, but meanwhile in the back line, Nova for ISU making some space himself, trying to find a pick on Roadkill's Juno right now. Gets the mega pack, ends up finding the pick. UNI are gonna all go down for another team kill for ISU.
Oh my goodness, that's so many team kills. 6 total between the 2 teams. Of course, that's a 2 team kill advantage now for ISU. But with 1:34 left to play, Joe, what are we seeing here? Oh my goodness.
Well, we're seeing a lot of different stuff go on. Totoro's Widowmaker is really hard to deal with for ISU right now. And I think they're spending a lot of time thinking about the Widow, and they need to spend more time getting some other people or everybody diving the Widow. I don't know, it's tough. Oh, here's the monkey right in the Widow's face. Gonna be finding it, just like I said.
Yep, he's gonna go ahead and rage.
Yeah, he's getting the rest of UNI right now as he goes for the small Swedish man, tosses him around. Meanwhile, the rest of UNI getting picked off. It's still winnable for UNI though, as ISU is gonna have to win a couple more team fights here.
Yeah, I feel like though UNI technically on paper you're gonna have to deal with the ult economy, but if you cycle through it together and use maybe beat into an XNL, JQ ultimate, maybe that could work. But you're going to have to worry about this forward spawn too, as Nova's going to go ahead and get a nice stagger on Doomrad. Of course, Totoro taking out Bardo. So that DPS happening as on point, Orbital Ray will go out for UNI as XNL will go ahead and use the JQ ult. Finds two. Roadkill with torpedoes. Finds the Kiriko. And Unlasting finds Nova. 12 seconds left to go. And UNI so far has it pushed by about 54 meters or so. And don't touch that robot, as Unlasting is going to go ahead and get the exclamation point. But overtime ticks over. Initiate with Kitsune Rush for ISU. Initiate with Orbital Ray. Beat comes out in response for UNI. Going to be playing at the robot. Overtime ticks over. It's going to come down to this. Bacon is going to be on ball. Try to disrupt here. Unlasting, though, able to take out the Kiriko. He's going to work in the back line. Going to try and fight Sneaky Snake. He's down to 1 HP. And Roadkill seals the deal with the torpedoes. No backline for ISU. Overtime is ticking over. Gonna have to try and make something happen out of nothing for ISU. They're gonna push the distance, but two members of ISU go down. It's gonna come down to a bacon ball. No can do. And UNI might start the reverse sweep here.
The bacon ball was not enough for Iowa State.
Oh my goodness. What did you think of those final moments, Joe?
I don't know. I think all I really think is that UNI played that round pretty well. Every single person on UNI really locked in that game, you know, and it felt like everybody was playing together a lot more. It felt like Totoro's Widow went absolutely crazy. And yeah, it was tough for Iowa State to have to worry about the rest of the members of UNI and also worry about a Widow.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the whole entire statistic. I didn't quite take it on my notepad here, but I believe the Widow v. Widow matchup was in favor of Totoro 4-1. So that is very interesting to see. And I also agree with you, Joe. I feel like the Widow was too much of a presence. ISU was thinking too much about it. And of course, that's why we saw Nova swap to the Tracer to maybe try and counter the Widow. But just the positioning that Totoro has, and there's so much hiding spots in Coliseo that Totoro was able to kind of kite that. But UNI coming in clutch when it absolutely mattered.
Yeah, I mean, Totoro's getting several members of Iowa State to swap to dive characters to deal with the Widow, and I think if you have that kind of a presence on your character and you're still getting value despite those dive characters, stay on the Widow, and he did, and I don't know, it worked out. So going into game 4 here, let me look at the rules really quick so I don't get it wrong. So the loser, Iowa State, is going to pick a map for Flashpoint. The maps are New Junk City or Servasa. And then the winner, UNI, is going to pick the map Time Inside, and then that's it. Although I guess there could be a second version of that later. We'll see. Did they pick a map yet?
Yes, they picked Servasa.
Okay, Servasa. I like between Servasa and New Junk City. I don't know. I kind of dislike both of them equally.
I mean, of course, a couple patches ago, they were able to add that initial speed boost coming out of spawn. So that was nice. But Servasa is just one of those unique maps where you have just a lot of map to work around, I guess. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, there's a lot of obstacles, there's weird sight lines, there's not as much flanking, and especially if you get one of the points that is quite literally in the middle of this canopy type of thing, you're kind of in a choke point there as well with like the stairs, unless you were able to kind of work around the sides. But the biggest thing though about Servasa is that you have to play as a team, and ISU has the leg up here in that regard versus New Junk City.
I definitely agree with you there. And the Flashpoint maps, team play is super duper important, and we have seen that Iowa State who's very, very good with the team play, even if it didn't work out for them that last game. The other maps, it's been working out for him. So UNI gonna have to lock in as a team this time. I don't think any individual Widowmaker or individual, it doesn't matter. I don't think any individual person is really gonna be able to do to be the game decider here.
No, it's not going to come down to individual play style. It's going to have to come down to team play. And especially on this first point, it's going to come down to who's going to get the first pick, who's going to get the first ult, and who's going to, take the first space as a tank. And I love how both XNL and Nidus, who now swapping back in for Bacon, going to go ahead and play the JQ.
I'm sorry, I got an email. It's a little important.
You're perfect.
I'm not gonna look at it.
I will go ahead and I can commentate from here, Joe.
No, I'm locked in. I just there's an issue with the class earlier. We're good, but
yes,
it was something weighing heavily on my mind today, so to speak.
Absolutely, no, understandable, man.
UNI immediately splitting up Iowa State. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, again, XNL is going to be on the Hazard. Of course, you mentioned earlier, Joe, when XNL got swapped in, really good value and has Hazard in the back pocket. But Nova on the Tracer, finding 2 already. Gonna find a third there in combination for Nidus and Vardo. Nidus getting it done early, so the first initial ticks over for Servasa is going to be for ISU.
I think UNI had a really good job. Iowa State split themselves up there, and I think UNI were. I'm guessing that they were not locked in on who they wanted to go for there. But I think if as long as they choose anybody, they win that because they were so split up. It'll be tough here as Juno's just behind UNI here. They do find 2 picks on UNI for 4 picks.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna have to be the flank play on this first point is so valuable here as 48%'s already ticked over, and Nidus gonna go ahead and get the Carnage kill on XNL. So, but I do like the XNL swap to Ramattra. He's a very good Ramattra player.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be tough for UNI here as the point has already ticked up to 75%. It just ticks up so fast here in Flashpoint.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of play style that you kind of have to deal with here is 90% ticks over.
UNI not playing together.
No, they're not playing together, and they're getting separated by Nova, who has Pulse Bomb in the back pocket. Might not need to use it as the first point of Servasa. Oh, Totoro's going to get stuck, so maybe that's a good cycle for Nova. I didn't like the Pulse Bomb there when you already kind of secured it.
I agree. I don't know. He built it up really fast, but yeah, they already had the point. UNI, I think he could have gotten a pick there without having to use that, but they do end up using it. UNI are going to have to do some respawning and regrouping here as Iowa State just set up on the point with 4 ults ready to use.
Yeah, and looking at UNI, they're going to have maybe 3 come the next team fight. It's going to be difficult here. Of course, this point favors Totoro on the Sojourn. Excellent job.
Unlasting just unleashing on Genji right now, finding another pick here. Totoro and Unlasting playing together really well in this point as they just shove off all of Iowa State, basically just with those 2.
Yeah, and you didn't have to use ultimates, of course. ISU gonna have 4.5 ultimates coming in this next team fight, but if you can go ahead and go toe-to-toe here, use this height of this catwalk as your advantage, you can get it done. XNL will go ahead and swap to Nemesis mode. Kitsune Rush and Annihilation come out. Whole host of Qs coming out as well. XNL finding Vardo. Gonna be in the back line. Nidus. XNL finding one more. And Unlasting with the blade. Taking out Sneaky Snake. And UNI, when the dust finally settles, is gonna win a team kill fight.
Okay, both DPS on another interesting DPS ult coming out like as the point is taken. Totoro does end up using Overclock there. I don't know about that one. I think at the start of that fight, Nidus's Rampage really split up his team in a bad way there. He left his team and they all got rolled by XNL. Okay, so here's going to be the Juno Orbital Ray for ISU. That's what they're going to use to push onto the point. Oh,
Yeah, overtime's going to take over. 2 members of UNI go down, 3 go down as Nova's going to go ahead and get the double kill on the Tracer. Unlasting with the dash though, going to get traded out again by Nova. Going to try and look for 5. Nemesis mode, XNL trying to stay alive, cannot. But 99% ticked over for UNI, and a bunch of ultimates committed for ISU.
Yep. UNI only really have the Kiriko ult and Brig ult to help push in here. They could build up another ult, but they're going to cut it close if they want to do it that way. All they have to do is win a team fight and they get this point because it's at 99%.
Yeah, the only question is how many resources are you going to commit to go ahead and get this here? Roadkill is going to go ahead, and both support ultimates come out. And so far, that's going to be value as XNL is going to go ahead and get the Nemesis kill. Nidus, though, going to take out.
How does that even hit
Roadkill.
Genji there? I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is kind of nutty as all the ultimates are going to be spent and done. And Avardo going to be coming out on top. So I would have to agree.
How? You saw that, right?
Yes,
like,
I did.
Genji was so far away and behind a pole when that Rampage came through and he got purpled for it. Whatever. He's still going to go in here, go for a touch. It's not going to be in time. He's going to go down. So's Totoro and so's Doomrad.
Yeah, so UNI is going to have to recognize that and kind of fall back as Flashpoint is going to come to its game point match. If UNI cannot get this point, ISU is going to go ahead and take the win for the series, I believe.
What sucks about this mode, and especially for UNI right now, is that the Flashpoint spawned on Iowa State's side of the map, so they just have to walk backwards, and UNI has to walk so far here.
Yeah, but they're going to have to play as a team. They're going to have to deal with this unlock. And I do like how XNL is going to take the high ground here. Hopefully they can take ISU off of it. Of course, you're going to go ahead and zone it out with the Vortex. Unlasting, though, with the Blade. He's going to be in the back line. He finds one. He finds 2. Can I get a 3rd? No. But maybe. He will go ahead and dash and maybe take out Nova. And wow, XNL showing up when it matters. Unfortunately, gets Carnage killed, but XNL gonna go ahead and get it done. So UNI, at the disadvantage of spawn, able to go ahead and get the caps on point 3.
Yep, gonna have to regroup here. It's just XNL up. A little bit of rollout. Nice rollout, Doomrad. I like that. He's already at the point.
Yeah, hopefully UNI can play as a team. And you have the Totoro and XNL ultimate. Initiate for ISU for ISU, and it's going to be overcharges for both. Annihilation coming out for UNI as well. He's going to go ahead and be in the back line. XNL finds 2 with Annihilation. Overclock is not going to be valid as Vardo goes down. Nidus, though, finding 2 of his own with the Rampage. So Nidus coming in clutch there at the very end.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a repeat of the previous point where Nidus goes in and leaves his team to die to XNL, but they seem to learn their lesson, and Iowa State managed to pull away and lock in with the Tracer going in with the JQ ult that time. So pretty good. As UNI are going to regroup here and go for a siege up on the top right. XNL dropping in.
Yeah, interesting to see how this Orisa play is going to play as Orbital Ray will come down and 2 members of UNI quickly go out. 64% ticked over as Roadkill will also go down as well. And just really good cohesive team play as the 5th team kill comes out for ISU.
Yeah, I think UNI barely have time to come over here and touch. I don't think they have time to do a full regroup and then touch. I mean, points taken up to 90%. The Lucio rollout is going to be important here. Messes it up a bit, but he's in here with Orisa. They get the touch. Here's the Nano coming out.
Yeah, that's
on
gonna be
XNL.
on XNL. And already Doomrad's going to go down, so the sustain's out. Lasting in the back line, 83%. Ticks go over for UNI. Totoro able to take out Nova and Vardo and the Kiriko.
They find Juno here. I don't think so. rat character is going to rat. They do get out. A really nice retake by UNI there. I did not see them retaking that so well.
I did not either, but a very good kind of initial point. 90% ticked over. It's going to come to this and Unlasting's Blade and Nova's Pulse Bomb. XNL trying to zone out. Overtime ticks over. Vardo finds 2. XNL finds Vardo, and here's the Blade. It's going to be on point. There's 1.
It's a huge Blade.
2. Trying to look for a third on Nidus.
It's a huge
XNL
Blade.
gets it. That's a team kill for UNI, and we continue to play on.
Unlasting saving the game with XNL there. That Blade was crazy.
Now UNI has to do this 2 more times, Joe.
Yeah, just 2 more times.
Just 2 more times. Easy.
Okay, yeah, no, this is really well played by Unlasting there. He had like 83% on his ult, as you said, and managed to build it up and use it and save the point there. Really good clutch.
Yeah. Clutch on Lasting. Able to do it again, of course. Nidus gonna use some of that JQ, pulls in XNL, tries to separate him from the team, and UNI gonna maybe look for a slight rotate as the first points will tick over for ISU. But Nova in the back line able to take out Doomrad. So here comes Rampage now. Finds 4 members of UNI. Pop the lamp for UNI, try to sustain. No can do. Nidus finds 2. Vardo taking out Unlasting as he was trying to deflect. But UNI's just going to have to reset from here.
Yep, it's tough with the Nova really putting a thorn in Doomrad's side at the start there. And just with the flanking all tonight, Nova on the Tracer has been really annoying for UNI as they go for another flank here.
Yeah, I really like how Nova's been able to be a thorn in UNI's side, and it's very beneficial as Vardo and Kiriko going to use their ultimates. Overclock. High Noon comes out. Totoro able to find Vardo. That's going to be a point play. Lamp comes out, gets taken down. Nidus able to take out Roadkill as well. UNI down a support. Now Sneaky Snake goes down. ISU down a support. That's 2 support. XNL will get pulse bombed though, and when the dust finally settles, it's gonna be Nova and ISU on top, and I believe UNI might not be able to recap at this point.
Yep, it's tough, and it goes down 1-3 for Iowa State. Well, 3-1 for Iowa State.
Yeah, so I think the big takeaway here is that UNI just not being able to deal with the Nova Tracer and the flankers. And, you know, big shout out to Roadkill and XNL trying to stay alive as much as they can. But I believe the thorn in the side for UNI was the Nova flanker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Nova on Tracer has been a really, really hard time for UNI to deal with all night. And was Vardo on Sojourn? That was really annoying for UNI as well.
Yes, so according to Captain Steven, the
Captain Steven,
the head coach Vandium, the Sojourn was a Masters as of this season of NECC. At one point was a Grandmaster peak, so a very, very skillful Sojourn for ISU.
Yeah.
So, if you had to pick a player of the game, who would it be, Joe?
For UNI or just in general?
Can I get both teams? I would be interested in both teams.
I don't know. I think probably one of the supports for UNI had to be player of the game. I don't know. I feel like both tanks and both DPS had their moments tonight for UNI, but honestly, I feel like maybe Doomrad would maybe be a pick for UNI because he was getting a lot of resources dealt to like deal with him, especially in that last game. The Tracer was like really, really looking for Doomrad's Lucio, and there was a couple of times where, like we saw on New York map. Why can't I remember the name of it?
Midtown.
Midtown. Like it was just the Doomrad versus the Sojourn on the point, and he did end up going down, but like I don't know. I felt like Doomrad, maybe it's just because I'm a Lucio fanboy. I felt like he was UNI's top pick. As far as Iowa State goes, it has to be one of the DPS. I can't say which, but they were both really, really hard for UNI to deal with tonight. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I definitely would feel like the flowers should go to Totoro just because you are going toe to toe with a peak GM Masters Sojourn, and Vardo did not stray much from the Sojourn at all this series. So definitely really good for him on, kind of going toe to toe there. Had some really good clutch moments. Of course, shout out to Unlasting, who started on the support. Maybe would have liked to see a Zenyatta there. So definitely good support play there. Swapping, though, back to his normal role of DPS. So I would have to give my one for UNI to be Totoro. And as for ISU, I believe it would have to be Nova, personally, because without the flanker of the Tracer, I feel like ISU doesn't dissipate as much, you and I kind of playing more cohesive because no one's peeling for the flanker, but someone's always been peeling for Nova and kind of creating chaos. And I believe that that's UNI's win condition for the year is trying to bring some order to the chaos. They're not playing as a team. They don't have chemistry. It's Valentine's Day. And I believe just Nova was the win condition there of just splitting up a UNI.
Yeah, 100% agree. But that is gonna be the series for tonight. I don't know if you wanted to do interviews.
I'm down if someone's wanting to do an interview, as always. Always.
I choose Doomrad then, if he
I
will.
choose Doomrad. If Doomrad is willing to do a head. Why don't you go ahead and plug merch, Joe? Would you like to plug merch?
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed the stream tonight, or if you guys could have hated the stream, I don't care. Just if you guys wanted to support Panther Esports, make sure to follow the Twitch and other socials. Make sure to hit !merch or click on the button. It'll take you to guardianproline.com/collections/northern-iowa-panther-esports. There's t-shirts, jerseys, beanies, you name it, all kinds of UNI Panther Esports paraphernalia for you or a loved one on this Valentine's Day. So if you want to support us that way, do that. Otherwise, follow and stuff. Put a Go Cats in the chat.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to see if we can get Doomrad in here.
Yeah, I guess the biggest kind of play here, too, to kind of your point, as we're kind of maybe trying to see to get Doomrad in here, is just the Doomrad play. The Baptiste invincibility lamps were kind of clutch there at the end. I think I maybe pointed out one, but the swapping, I believe Doomrad wasn't always the first backline member picked. I believe that was either XNL, or excuse me, not XNL, Unlasting or Roadkill. It was never Doomrad. And of course, Doomrad, who is a seasoned support player, kind of showing why he's one of the nice veterans on the team. Like I kind of mentioned during Wednesday's scrims, if I'm not saying your name as a caster for a support member, that means you're doing your job. You're not trying to be too much of a DPS frontliner. You're actually sustaining, utilizing your resources, healing, and you're not getting picked early. And I believe that Roadkill, or excuse me, oh my goodness, I'm looking at all these names and it's not the right one. I'm looking at Doomrad for doing exactly all those things.
I don't see him in any of the Discords here. I messaged the coach and I've not heard anything back, so I'll give him a minute here.
So I guess to kind of make sure that the airwaves aren't dead, Joe, I already asked you what your favorite donut was. Do you have a favorite type of season?
Probably fall because it's not so like I think spring is too muddy and I feel like there's a lot of like snow and cold at the start that I'm not a fan of. And winter I used to be a fan of. I think snow is really pretty, but it's just too cold and just too much. Summer I like, but it's just too hot all the time. I think fall has the best of all the worlds. Like you get some cold towards the end, you get some like comfortable heat from the summer. Like sometimes fall does get a little bit brown and ugly, but I don't know. I think there's beauty in that, so I go with fall. Also,
Yeah.
leaves crunching when you step on them, very
Yeah.
nice.
I reiterate everything you said, so you basically said my answer. So, why don't we go ahead and bring Doomrad in here?
OZ.
He is waiting.
Oh shoot. Oh, where'd he go?
Oh, he's gone. No, Doomrad. Oh, he got pulled in by his coach.
Move to Twitch stream. Hello?
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey, Doomrad. First off, give me your initial thoughts. How do you think the series went today?
It went okay. There's just some little things we need to try to work on, and if we get those going, then we should be good.
You played some really nice Lucio tonight.
Yeah, I think the best
Yeah.
we did was when I was just inting on their supports during
Yeah.
the game on Coliseo.
Especially if I felt like, did you feel targeted at all, especially in that last game?
A little bit.
Yeah, it definitely looked
I
that
know.
they were targeting you a little bit.
Yeah. Like I got solo a couple times on Coliseo or on Midtown. That was interesting.
I'm
Oh,
kind of
that's
curious
unfortunate.
as to what some of the comms were tonight. You know, at least for us, it didn't seem like everybody on the team was playing together in those first two games. It kind of felt like the either DPS were not playing with the tank as much as they probably should have. But it felt like both supports were always playing with everybody. How did that feel for you guys? Am I right in that? Am I wrong in that?
I'm not sure. We kind of just I think we just kind of try to play where we think we need to play, and it doesn't always mesh with what every other unit wants to do.
So can you maybe go back and talk a little bit about, a little bit of the Baptiste play? I know we saw a little bit there on the Servasa. Of course, like you said, you were playing more of a Lucio, but what was the kind of thoughts of going into the Baptiste play?
I think that was Roadkill playing the Baptiste.
Oh, sorry.
But I think that was just like he wasn't feeling the Brig anymore. That's why I swapped off Lucio initially on a carry, I think.
I gotcha. Sorry. So, I guess what is one thing that you are looking forward to work on this semester?
I think probably in a week, probably going to Warburg, hopefully, for their LAN. So I haven't had a chance to do that yet at UNI.
Yeah. What are you most excited about a LAN tournament? Just being in person?
Just I guess the experience and just traveling down there to compete.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like it was rough tonight. I did. How did the first game feel? Because that first game on Samoa looked like absolute chaos. Was it chaos for you guys?
Oh yeah, I feel like I think we just need to communicate with each other a little bit better. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Joe, any final questions before I do the most serious question?
No, I'm gonna steal it. What's your favorite season?
Season?
Yeah.
I guess season 9 because
No,
after
no,
that
no, no,
point
no,
I
no,
could.
no,
Oh,
no, no,
season.
no, 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 no.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What's your favorite, like fall, spring, winter, summer?
Probably spring.
Ew.
Any particular reason why spring?
It's not super hot or cold generally.
Just kind of like the mild
Rain's kind of
temperatures?
cool.
Yeah, coming out of winter, that's pretty important. All right, well, Doomrad, thank you for joining us, and unfortunate for today's events didn't go how you wanted, but good job playing on the support, and we're looking forward to see you next week.
Yep.
All right, Joe, any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
No. Just want to thank everybody for coming out. Thanks to Bill in production. Thanks to you for co-casting with me.
Absolutely. Next week, if you all are interested, UNI will be playing against Louisville. So Louisville currently 1-0. Their match yet to be reported. So hopefully going to be another exciting matchup. However, today for your Valentine's Day Overwatch special, UNI falls to in-state rivals Iowa State 3-1. For Joe in the booth, Bill in production, my name is Hunter. Thank you for joining us on your special night. It was special for us. So, like always, thank you. We'll see you next week, and go Cats.
For the losers bracket, but I have high hopes for these guys. Colin goes to the backboard, double touch, and he gets it.
He's got sight and a good pick. Another good pick. And another. He's going crazy with it.
Oh! That was disgusting.